I never thought I'd be the guy posting something like this, but here I am. My name's Jake, and I've been with my wife, Emily, for about 5 years. We were supposed to get married in 2 weeks. Everything seemed perfect, or at least I thought it was. We had our issues like any couple, but I genuinely believed we were solid. I mean, she was the one I wanted to spend the rest of my life with, or so I thought. Looking back, I realized there were signs I just didn't want to see. She'd be distant sometimes, more annoyed when I brought up plans or future stuff. She'd cancel dates at the last minute or suddenly have to work late, even though she never had a real job that required late nights. She'd say it was just stress, that she was tired, that she needed space. I bought into it, convinced myself that maybe I was overthinking or just paranoid. She's a little bitchy sometimes, yeah, but I figured it was her personality, not a sign of anything bigger. Still, the little things started piling up. Her phone was always locked, even when she was around me. I'd catch her hiding it or quickly deleting messages. She'd get defensive if I asked to see her texts or her social media. She'd say I was being paranoid, that I didn't trust her, but I do trust her, or I did. I mean, I wanted to trust her. We'd been through a lot, and I thought that was enough. Then came the night before her bachelorette party. She was acting weird, more aggressive than usual. She snapped at me over nothing, then stormed out of the apartment saying she needed to clear her head. I stayed up, waiting for her to come back, but she didn't. Instead, I found her phone on the counter with a bunch of messages from some guy named Ryan. I saw a photo of her in bed, half-dressed, with her saying, "Can't wait to see you again," or something equally sleazy. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. My stomach sank. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, so I decided to wait till she got back. But honestly, every minute that passed felt like a lifetime. I kept going over everything, how she'd been acting, the little lies, the dismissiveness. I kept asking myself if I'd missed the signs or if I'd been blind. The worst part was I still loved her. I wanted to believe it was just a one-time mistake, a moment of weakness or perhaps frustration. Maybe she was drunk or upset about something else. But deep down I knew something was wrong. Something was terribly wrong, and I was about to find out what that was. When she finally came home the next morning, her eyes were red and puffy, but she tried to act normal. She threw her arms around me, kissed me on the cheek, and said she was sorry for being so distant. I looked at her, feeling a mixture of anger, hurt, and confusion. I wanted to ask her so many questions, but I kept quiet. I knew I needed to gather my thoughts first. I couldn't believe I was about to confront my wife, the woman I was supposed to marry, over this. And I had no idea at the time how much more was coming. That morning, I sat across from her at the kitchen table, trying to piece together what I'd seen and what I was feeling. She was acting sweet, maybe a little too sweet, like she was trying to smooth things over or hide something. I could tell she was nervous, but she kept brushing it off, saying she was stressed out, that she loved me, that she'd never do anything to hurt me. It all sounded so rehearsed, and I could see through it. I decided I had to confront her. I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine. So I asked her straight up about the messages and the photo I found. Her face changed instantly. She blinked, threw her head back like she was surprised I'd found out, and then started with a bunch of lies. Said it was just a mistake, that Ryan was an old friend she'd lost touch with. Said she'd been drunk that night when she sent those messages, that she didn't remember doing it, and that it didn't mean anything. I wasn't buying it, not for a second. I told her I saw the photo, that I knew she'd been sleeping with this guy, and I wanted to know the truth. Her eyes narrowed, and she looked at me like I was the crazy one. "You're overreacting," she snapped. "It's just sex, Jake. It doesn't mean we're over or that I don't love you." She said it like she wanted to dismiss everything, like she was trying to protect herself, but I wasn't having it. I told her I couldn't believe she'd lie like that she'd cheat on me before we even got married. Her reaction was instant. She stood up, her voice rising. "Oh, spare me the self-righteous bullshit. Maybe if you paid more attention, I wouldn't have had to look elsewhere." Honestly, I was just bored. "You're so predictable, so boring. Ryan's just a bit of fun, that's all. It's not like I'm leaving you for him." She looked at me with that bitchy smirk, like she thought she was winning. But I knew better. I knew she was just trying to soften the blow, trying to make me feel like I was overreacting. That was the moment I realized the woman I loved was a liar, a cheat, and someone I couldn't trust anymore. I felt everything crashing down inside me, anger, sadness, disbelief. I didn't know whether to scream or cry or just walk away. I just sat there staring at her, feeling like I was losing my mind. How could someone I trusted so much do this? How could she lie so easily, so convincingly? It was like I was talking to a stranger, someone I didn't even recognize. The betrayal cut so deep I could hardly breathe, and yet I knew this was only the beginning of what would be a long, painful journey. After she finished her little tirade, I felt like I was in a fog. Part of me wanted to just lose it, scream, throw things, ask her how she could do this to me, to us. But another part, the part that had been slowly dying inside for months, just wanted to sit still and process everything. The lies, the betrayal, the fact that she had slept with my best friend, Mark, just days before our wedding. That's what really broke me. I trusted Mark too, like a damn fool. We known each other since college, and I never imagined he'd do something so low. I remember the moment I realized it was more than just betrayal. It was a complete destruction of everything I thought I knew about her and about my life. Mark and I had been close, like brothers. We shared everything, and I honestly thought he was one of my best friends. Turns out he wasn't, or at least he wasn't anymore. I kept replaying the night I saw them kissing in our living room. I'd come home early from work. I'd been supposed to pick up some groceries, and I'd seen it with my own eyes. Her lips on his, hands all over each other, right there in my house. I felt my stomach drop out. It was like I'd been punched again, but this time in the chest. I didn't say a word, I just froze. They saw me at the exact same time I saw them. Her face twisted into this sneering, bitchy look, like she thought she was so clever. Mark looked guilty, but also like he thought he was entitled to her. I remember that moment like it was yesterday, the betrayal, the shock, the sick feeling in my gut. I stood there, staring at them, trying to hold myself together, but inside I was burning. How could I have been so blind? How could I not see it? The worst part was, I didn't even get a chance to say anything. She tried to lie her way out of it, spun some BS about how she was just talking to Mark because she was stressed, or that they were just reconnecting. But I knew better. I saw her lips on his, saw her hands gripping his shirt like she was trying to kiss the life out of him. It was real, and it was happening in my house, in my living room, the very place I'd imagined all our future moments together, just days before our wedding. I couldn't believe I'd been so naive. I defended her, always making excuses. She's stressed, I told myself. She's just upset about the wedding. But the truth was, she was cheating on me with my best friend, and I hadn't seen it coming. How could I? I trusted her with everything. My heart, my future, my life. And she'd thrown it all away just to sleep with Mark one last time before our wedding day. That's what still haunts me. The fact that I was so stupid, so blind, that I didn't see it until it was right in front of me. The days following that night are a blur. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, that sneer she gave me, Mark's guilty look. I kept asking myself how I missed all the signs, how I was so blind to the fact that the woman I loved, the woman I was about to marry, was capable of cheating on me with my best friend. It's like my whole world had turned upside down, and I was just trying to hold onto the pieces. I remember the moment I finally decided I had to do something. I couldn't just keep pretending like everything was normal. I needed answers, real answers. So I sat her down again, this time with anger fueling my voice. I asked her why. Why did she do it? Why sleep with Mark just days before our wedding? Her response was classic Emily, full of lies, manipulation, and blame shifting. She said things like, "It didn't mean anything," or "He's just a friend," or "I was drunk, I swear." She looked at me with those cold, bitchy eyes and dismissed my pain like I was overreacting. Like I was the problem, but I wasn't buying her bullshit anymore. I saw her for what she was, a liar and a cheat. And honestly, I started feeling something else. Anger, pure, unfiltered anger. I was furious at her, furious at Mark, and mostly furious at myself for ever trusting them. How could I have been so stupid? I gave her my heart, my future, and she had just thrown it away with a few lies and a quick fuck. That night, I did something I never thought I'd do. I started digging. I went through her phone again, looking for more evidence, more lies. I found a string of messages from Mark, conversations about plans to meet up, some explicit talk, and even a few photos she hadn't shown me. That was the last straw. I realized I wasn't just dealing with a one-time slip-up. This was a pattern. She'd been cheating on me for months, maybe longer. All those little signs, the distant behavior, the secretive phone calls, they all made sense now. I remember feeling sick to my stomach. It was like I'd been punched in the gut 100 times over. My vision blurred and I couldn't breathe. I was angry, but underneath all that, I was heartbroken. I loved her, or at least I thought I did. And now I saw her for what she really was, a selfish, manipulative liar who didn't care about me at all. The worst part was she kept denying it, acting like I was the crazy one, like she was the victim. She told me I was overreacting, that I was paranoid and insecure, that I didn't trust her. But I knew the truth now. I had all the evidence and I was done believing her lies. That realization hit me hard. I started thinking about what I needed to do. Was it worth fighting for the relationship? Could we even fix this? Or was it better to cut my losses and move on? The questions kept spinning in my head. I felt lost, betrayed, and utterly exhausted. The only thing I knew for sure was that trust was gone, completely, forever. And with that, my mind was made up. I had to end it. I couldn't be with a woman who thought cheating and lying were just part of sex, or whatever bullshit she was feeding herself. The decision came suddenly, but it felt like it had been building inside me for a long time. I couldn't keep pretending everything was okay, not after what I'd uncovered. The next day, I told her I needed space, that I couldn't do this anymore. She looked surprised, like she hadn't expected me to finally snap. But I wasn't about to let her manipulate her way out of this one. I told her I was done, that I couldn't trust her, and that I needed to figure out what my next move was. Her bitchy attitude only grew more pronounced as she fired back with accusations, calling me paranoid, insecure, jealous, basically trying to turn the tables and make me doubt myself. Honestly, I was too drained to argue anymore. I just wanted her gone. That evening, I started planning my revenge, not in some petty way, but in a way that would hit her where it hurt. I knew her secrets, her lies, her cheating. I knew she had lied about her whereabouts, about her feelings, about everything. So I decided I'd make her regret ever crossing me. I started with the small stuff, changing passwords on her social media, deleting her from my phone, making sure she did have access to anything that mattered. But I also had a more personal plan. I was going to make her see what she lost. I'd been a good husband, a loyal man, and she'd thrown all that away. I reached out to Mark that day. I didn't confront him openly. I wasn't stupid enough for that. Instead, I sent a message telling him I knew what he'd done, that I'd find a way to make him pay. I didn't threaten or curse. I just told him I knew he'd betrayed our friendship and that I was done with him. I wanted him to feel the guilt, the shame that I had every right to feel. I wanted him to understand that betrayal wasn't going to go unpunished. And I started to plan something more calculated, something that would make her realize what she was losing. Meanwhile, Emily kept trying to spin her stories, acting like she was the victim, crying crocodile tears, pretending she still loved me. But I saw through her. Her tears were fake, her words empty. I could see the disdain in her eyes whenever she thought I wasn't looking. I knew she was only sorry she got caught, not sorry for what she did. The more she begged and pleaded, the more I saw her for what she was, a selfish, manipulative bitch who couldn't even be honest with herself, much less with me. Eventually, I decided I was done playing her game. I told her I was moving out, that I couldn't stay in a house with someone who had lied and cheated on me. I packed a bag, left her crying on the doorstep, and walked away. It was the hardest thing I'd ever done, but I knew I had to do it. Every moment since has been a roller coaster, sadness, anger, relief, regret. But mostly I feel a strange sense of liberation. I lost a wife and a best friend, but I also gained clarity. My trust is shattered, but maybe someday I'll find a way to trust again. For now, I just want to get past this, to heal. But one thing's clear. Never again will I ignore the signs or make excuses for someone who clearly doesn't value me. If she's willing to cheat and lie so easily, then she's not worth my tears or my time. I've learned that lesson the hard way. And honestly, it's one I hope no one else has to learn the way I did. Now looking back, I realize that betrayal changes you. It destroys that naive belief that everyone around you has good intentions. I trusted Emily with my life, my future, everything. I thought that was enough. But her actions proved otherwise. It's like I was blind, wearing rose-colored glasses, and they shattered in the worst way possible. I keep asking myself how I didn't see the signs, how I missed the red flags, but truth is, I was too in love or maybe just too stupid to see she was capable of this kind of betrayal. The aftermath has been rough. I've had days where I felt nothing but anger, days where I just wanted to forget everything and move on. I felt betrayed, humiliated, and honestly a little broken. But I also learned something. I learned that I am stronger than I thought. Moving out, cutting her off, blocking her from my life, those were the hardest decisions I've ever made, but they were necessary. I've started focusing on myself now, rebuilding what's left of my confidence. One thing I'll say to anyone reading this: trust is fragile. It takes years to build, seconds to destroy. And once it's gone, it's almost impossible to get back. So don't ignore the signs and don't brush off your gut feelings. If someone is lying, hiding stuff, or acting distant, pay attention. Because once the truth comes out, and it always does, you'll regret every moment you ignored it. As for Emily and Mark, I don't harbor hatred anymore. I'm done with that. I just see them as people who made their choices, and I've chosen to walk away from the pain. I don't need her to apologize or explain anymore. I've realized I'm better off alone than with someone who doesn't value me. My life has to move forward, and I refuse to let this define me. So here's what I've learned. Be cautious, trust your instincts, and never settle for less than honesty. Because once someone betrays you, it's hard to forget, but you can learn to forgive yourself for trusting them, and eventually forgive them for what they did. I may have lost Emily, my best friend, my future, but I gained clarity and the chance to start over. That's what truly matters now.